More often than not, in the relentless crusade for the thoroughly superficial, the wily bureaucrat, the hackneyed do-gooder, and the snake-in-the-grass developer will conspire to take something perfectly fine in its basic state and choke the life out of it. I mean, why let the space be when you can jam a motley gallimaufry of kaleidoscopic plastic into it? Well, here's a thing. Welcome to Here's a Thing, my verbally disseminated production to create self-engendering machines of perpetual effectiveness. I am Scotch Roeder, and this is my show. Let's take a small time out from self-examination to poke a little fun at the permanently obtuse. Shall we? Let's. It's a relaxing, rainy Sunday morning around here, so let's pick on the frivolous. Fatuous lunacy. Now, I've used that fun with words phrase before here. In fact, if you've been paying attention at all, it's the thread that ties the underlying narrative of Here's a Thing together. Essentially, it means extreme foolishness of an unsound mind, which perfectly sums up human activities that don't rise to the level of existential crisis, but resemble the sensation of being murdered by rug burn. Generally speaking, fatuous lunacy channels itself through teenagers, busybody old ladies, and any elected body, well, and basically anyone with not enough meaning or purpose. And that brings us to my not-so-little-anymore hometown, way down in the bottom right corner of South Carolina, down in the low country, where we have no shortage of teenagers, busybody old ladies with loads of spare time and resources, and an ever-increasingly foolish, greedy, and corrupt elected body. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah. The world has no shortage of assholes now, does it? It's just that doing something about it these days would require, I don't know, picking your nose up out of your phone and turning off Netflix porn. And, well, I mean, that's just too much effort to put into, I don't know, saving the world from the corrosive effects of general skullduggery and malfeasance. Someone once said that every pathological moral decision moves the world one step closer to annihilation. The problem is that it's difficult to see these individual decisions as ultimately dangerous because so many of them seem so insignificant to the larger picture. Eventually, though, humanity is left in a bloody pulp from so many paper cuts you've stopped counting. Then what? Well, just stop doing stupid and destructive things on our own, right? Name one time that's ever happened. Anyway, I have skidded down a dirt road away from my frivolous little tale. So, my hometown seems to have a problem. Very serious problem indeed, and that problem seems to be that there is an abundance of land that's just not living up to its potential. The land isn't properly contributing its fair share to the enrichment of the community. The land isn't maximizing its potential to entertain us. It's just there, being space, or woods, or a field, or a place on the bluff overlooking the river where people have ventured for hundreds of years to fish or cool off in the shade, put in a boat, watch the sunset, whatever. How prosaic. Certainly this idle land can be improved, yes? Enter the extrinsic interloper. The New England socialite transplant who wasn't fulfilled by mucking up her own hometown. Nope. Gert's gonna get all up in your business too. Because, well, you rubes simply don't understand what to do with an innocent, unsuspecting piece of land. So off goes Gert on her crusade to ingratiate herself to the local Ministry of Ignorance for cash. Next thing you know, that bucolic piece of land that has given itself in its natural state to the people's enjoyment is earmarked to become a park. And apparently the word park in bureaucratese means giant plastic playground and artificial turf ball field, outbuildings and museum, and all the other bullshit that seems to come along with a park. People, stop building parks. The land is perfectly fine as it is. Parks do unnatural things and attract unnatural people. Parks are magnets for teenagers, homeless, unemployed, drug dealers, pedophiles, and general ne'er-do-wells. Do you really want to hang out with any of those people? Parks are for idle people and the shadow-dwelling cur who prey on idle people. Do we genuinely need to cough up another chunk of the working people's resources for artificial largesse so hippies can hacky their sacks and teenagers can be nugatory? Jesus, we already built you a skate park for that. Okay, I know, that was harsh, and it's not exactly magnanimous of me to pick on the world's dipshits so sternly, so I'll hop off the astringent rhetoric train and try to make a salient point. Fair enough? How can I pick on parks? Is he really picking on parks? Yeah. How can I pick on parks? Parks are a great way to conserve land and give people a place to enjoy the outdoors, right? Well, as with all matters in the public square, the answer is more complex and lies beneath many layers of obfuscation. The construction of parks is about control of the land. And realistically, that's not always a bad thing. Consider what Manhattan would look like without Central Park. Now, there's a lot of yucky shit that goes down in Central Park, to be certain. But without that preserved sort of natural space, anything resembling actual life in New York City would vanish and everyone would have to go out to Westchester or over to Jersey to play softball, and that just would not do. Maybe Brooklyn, but they have their own issues. Regardless, I think we can all agree that Central Park is overall a good thing. And you can add any big city to this side of the ledger, although I think San Diego would still be pretty damn awesome without Balboa Park. That was a couple of hours of my life I'd like to have back. Anyway, that brings me back to my hometown where Budinsky Gert and her pet snakes in elected office can't seem to leave well enough alone and resist their inner gravitational pull to control everyone and everything. Our little town isn't Manhattan. We have plenty of trees and natural spaces where people can go chill out, or walk, or paddle a kayak, or even throw a goddamn frisbee if you must. We have a massive municipal soccer complex with an adjacent indoor multi-court basketball facility, batting cages, a huge workout facility, and an indoor track. And guess what? If you're a student who resides in the county, it's free! Well, nothing in life is free, but we'll bypass that for a moment. We also have multiple baseball, softball, football, basketball, and dog parks. And remember, I already mentioned the skate park. Now, these are all great things that any vibrant city should have. And we don't mind footing the bill for them at all. So what's the deal? If I'm not anti-park, what the hell is my problem? Well, you know the answer to that question by now. It all comes down to authenticity. Forcing a park into a natural space is near the top of the inauthenticity ladder. You know, when you finally get your phone or computer situated exactly how you like, and right about that time the techno critters force a software update that really doesn't do much of anything useful, but jacks all of your system preferences around. And all because they wanted to change the fonts and margins. That's what jamming a park into an already existing natural space is like. They're going to litter the landscape with multicolored plastic playground equipment, ugly tables and chairs that they'll have to bolt to concrete pads so the good people who frequent parks won't steal them or throw them in the river, bathroom buildings, and an artificial turf field where there currently exists an actual authentic field. Now, this area to which I refer, this little slice of heaven, has existed for, a few million years. And never, not once, has anyone said, you know what this spot needs? A playground. Are you kidding me? Perhaps if you step back from helicopter and lawnmower parenting your children to death, you'll see that left to their own devices, and in the absence of artificial paraphernalia, they're likely to, climb a tree or play hide and seek or just run around aimlessly like children naturally do without your counterfeit quasi-life pseudo activities. That's if you can manage to separate them from that electronic heroin needle we call a phone you hook them on. Hell's bells, if you were anything like me when I was a kid, I could entertain myself for hours with a tennis ball. Honestly, though, you'd think in our post-apocalyptic COVID world, we'd be constructing fewer things that actually herded people into confined spaces. But again, this isn't about public service, this is about control. And the very best way to weed through the phony baloney and authentic nonsense is to listen for the following words. But it's for the children. When you hear that hackneyed and thoroughly dishonest statement, you are cleared hot to roll your eyes, say no, and walk away. It's for the children is code for we are going to steal your money and take control of your resources. Next time they want to raise your taxes because they wring their hands and tell you the school kids don't have enough of this, that, or the other, go look up the salary of the superintendent and find out how much that Taj Mahal cost to build where the county administration works. Okay. To summarize, we're not intrinsically anti-park here. We are anti-lies, deceit, and treachery. Parks just happen to be the canvas for my message today, which is stop using unnatural influence to hammer the world into the shape you proclaim to be optimal. Let it be, as some hippie once said. Parks are a relatively friction-free way to gain control of resources because, really, who's going to stand up against parks? That's how they get you. Don't be afraid to stand up against dumb shit, especially when it's disguised as something innocent. Albert Camus once said, the welfare of the people in particular has always been the alibi of tyrants, and it provides the further advantage of giving the servants of tyranny a good conscience. Whenever something makes no sense, simply follow the money trail to whoever wants control. Let the land be, and furthermore, let it be free from snot-covered jungle gyms and industrial-grade picnic tables. That's enough to ponder for now. Remember, read, write, think, connect. Take care of your body, mind, and spirit, and work on becoming a self-engendering machine of perpetual effectiveness. I hope you will continue to join me and, just as importantly, share this message and share the podcast. Snap link in and let's go. You know where to find us. Search Here's the Thing everywhere you can possibly listen to a podcast. And remember, become a patron and donate to the cause by following the show link to patron.podbean.com/Here's the Thing or by clicking the little $sign or the Become a Patron button on the Here's the Thing episode page of your Podbean app. Many thanks to all of our fantastic patrons. Take the opportunity today to do something that'll make yourself a little bit closer to the person that you want to be instead of just whatever. Whatever you're about to do, get after it 100% or don't bother going through the motions. You owe that to yourself because integrity matters. Be mindful, be fit, be authentic. it'll pay off.